Hello guys, let's discuss the on-campus interview experience for the role of Associate Software Engineer at ServiceNow. The package offered is 25 lakhs per annum. There were 5 rounds in total. The first 2 rounds were online coding rounds, and the last 3 rounds were face-to-face interviews. Remember, every round is an elimination round. There were around 500 students who appeared for the online coding round 1. Only 43 students were shortlisted for the online coding round 2, and there were 21 students who were qualified for the face-to-face interviews. Let's talk about the online coding rounds. The pattern for both these rounds is same, and the platform on which these coding rounds were conducted is HackerRank. In each round, there were 15 MCQs and 1 coding question. We had MCQs on these topics. From data structures, we had questions on trees, stacks, linked lists, etc. From trees, you can expect questions like, given the pre-order traversal of a binary search tree, find its post-order traversal. We also had few questions on heap data structure as well. Talking about stack, there were questions like converting infix expression to postfix expression. On linked list, think of a functionality like deleting a node at a specific position. To implement that function, they'll give the partial code and few blank spaces, and you're supposed to fill those blank spaces and complete the function. We are also asked time and space complexities of algorithms like sorting and searching. In some cases, a recurrence relation is given and you should tell its time complexity. And also there were questions like, given an array of n elements and after performing few iterations of insertion sort algorithm on that array, how will the array change? We also had few code snippets and we are asked to predict their outputs. They were based on Java and C language. From DBMS, questions like, when you are given a table and you should say in which normal form it is. And the other one is, you are given dependencies between the attributes of the table and you should say which combination of those attributes will form the candidate key of the table. And in operating system, we had problems on scheduling algorithms like shortest job first, round robin, etc. In online coding round 1, we had 1 coding question, which is a slight variation of anagram, and it was an easy one. In online coding round 2, we had another coding question which goes this way. You are given a sentence and also a dictionary consisting of few words. You need to find the total number of different combinations of that sentence when you are allowed to replace any word in the sentence with its anagram, provided it is present in the given dictionary. After this, 21 students were shortlisted for face-to-face interviews. In technical interview 1, the first question was, tell me about yourself. Apart from telling about me and my educational background, I also spoke about my recent work experience, that is, the internships I've done. I highlighted my technical skills and the domains in which I'm interested in and the projects I've done so far. I also made sure that I stressed enough on my projects and my positions of responsibility. After glancing at my resume for a while, the interviewer told me that he only wants to test my problem-solving skills in this round. Saying so, he soon hopped over to the first coding question. A HackerRank link will be shared to you where you are supposed to write the code. The first coding question is, generate all the valid parentheses of length n. I explained my approach and I wrote simple recursive code and discussed the time and space complexities of the code. And the second coding question is, given an array of stock prices, find the maximum profit earned when we are only allowed to make at most k transactions. This was a question which is based on dynamic programming. I have given him 2 optimizations to that problem and coded it as well. I also discussed the time and space complexities of all the approaches. And after this, I had second technical interview. In the technical interview 2, the first question was again, tell me about yourself. I answered it. The interviewer then asked me, what is your favorite subject and how much do you rate yourself in that specific subject? I said DBMS. He asked me a few theory questions on DBMS and few queries from MySQL. Queries were from the topics like nested and correlated subqueries, few queries on joins, and clauses like group by and exist and non-exist. Then I was asked a coding question, which was, given a linked list, reverse all sublists of size k. Here I asked him few questions like what if the size of the linked list is less than k, and then I've explained him my approach, and then I coded the problem, and I made sure I covered all the corner cases as well. And after coding it, there was a deep discussion on my projects. Then there was a final round, which is a combination of both technical and HR. Again, the first question was tell me about yourself, but this time the interviewer explicitly asked me about my interests, my hobbies, what do I do in my free time, my family background, and questions like that, followed by a few questions on hashing. Then the interviewer asked me what is my favorite programming language, and he asked me to explain all the OOPS concepts in that language, giving all practical examples wherever necessary. Then I've been asked to explain my internship project in great detail. Recently, I interned with Deloitte as a tax technology intern, and my project was traffic volume prediction. Since it involved machine learning, the interviewer asked me questions on machine learning too. There was a pretty long discussion on my resume and my projects as well. Again, there was another coding question, which is check if the frequency of all the characters can become same by removing at most one single character. The interviewer expected two approaches. I've given two different approaches and he was convinced. I again coded it and explained the time and space complexities as well. And then this was the final question. He asked me, do you have any questions? I remember I asked him few questions related to the job role and the work culture over there. Coming to the tips, as you have seen, about 80 to 85% of the whole interview process, you'll be asked to solve coding questions. Hence, the primary focus must be on problem solving. You can practice on different online coding platforms like HackerRank, CodeShift, CodeForces, InterviewBit, Geeks or Geeks, etc. And while coding in the technical interview, you can ask any questions regarding the problem statement before you start coding. Always try to think out loud while you code, and also try to write concise code. Try to read previous interview experiences to get an idea on what type of questions are being asked in the interviews and what is their difficulty level. Also try to get acquainted with the interview process to feel more confident. You can do this by attending mock interviews.